Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Retro Gamers Podcast, episode 275. And as you can tell right away, Anthony's here, but Larry is not.
But new Larry's here.
But new Larry is here, or as you know, we prefer calling him Jack. So hello, Jack. How are you?
Nice to be on. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem. And just remember, the only reason we're having you on is because Larry can't be here. No,
Feels good to be loved.
Right. Well, we haven't seen you on the show since you and Rich took over for episode 250.
Yeah.
So
I mean, that, we just unplugged one cable and all of a sudden we were just on the show. I don't know how that happened.
Yeah. And just like that, you were banished for 6 months afterwards. But here you are again.
Yeah, well, it's good to be here.
Yeah. No, thank you for stepping in for Larry. Larry is busy getting his WrestleMania on this weekend.
Yep.
So I thought we'd just kind of jump right into things. And I know you have a couple of things you wanted to show off since you are literally our resident tech expert on things.
Scary thought.
Well, no, I mean, Larry and I don't know. We don't do the whole open up our consoles and mod them type of thing. I'm still one of those people who's like, nope, my original warranty should still apply because the seal is there. Even though it's been 30 years. Yes. 30 years, nothing. I still have a warranty. But yeah, so before we started, you had shown me a couple of things. So let's see what you got, man.
Yeah, so the first is your favorite console of all time.
Larry's gonna be happy he missed this one.
Yeah. So there's a flash cart by Retronics, and Kevin at Retronics made this, and no matter what the backing technology, I just want to demonstrate it because it's really cool. Okay. As you can see, like Hyper Fighting, there's a label there that's printed on this cart. Mm-hmm. That's actually an e-ink screen, so it's the same technology as the Kindle, but it's black, white, and red.
Oh, nice.
And so you can go ahead and cycle like through your ROMs, and when you load them, it loads the label on there. So when you unplug it,
oh wow,
it's forever imprinted on there until you like load the next ROM because it's all e-ink display, which is really great.
That's
and he
awesome.
has these little buttons on the back for you to select the ROM. So everything's just built in. All you have to do is load up an SD card.
Okay.
So you just drop all the stuff on the SD card, you load them up, you select the ROM, it flashes the ROM onto it. And when you unplug the USB cable, it's ready to go. And you know what ROM is loaded just by that. And it has cool little loading screens that I can't demonstrate right now, but it's just technology wise, it was really awesome.
That's really cool. So now what do you plug that into to play?
It's a Virtual Boy cart.
Oh, it's just a card. So you just play it. So it goes right into the Virtual Boy.
Correct. Yeah. So the ROM I have loaded there is Hyper Fighting, which is like a Virtual Boy Street Fighter clone.
Okay.
That is a brand new like kind of ROM that was made.
All right. That's awesome. And so you can essentially load the entire Virtual Boy library onto this thing, all like 10 games.
10 cards. Yeah. That was amazing. With all new 40 homebrew games that came out, like Blocks and I think Captain Sevilla, which was an original, I think, DOS game that was ported, and really nice, really cool stuff.
Oh, that's awesome. And then I guess is this like a guy in the US that does it, or is it from overseas?
Yeah, it's a US guy, I think. Retronics. Yeah, I think he's the US guy. The next thing we'll go over is from a UK, but these are, I think, hand built by him and his team.
Wow.
And small production batch. So like pre-orders are very limited. And I think I pre-ordered mine a year ago or so.
Oh, wow.
But with COVID or anything, it's completely understandable. I mean, this is just phenomenal work of art, and everything's aluminum. So this is brushed aluminum.
Oh, wow.
And it's just like the fitment of it and everything else is just like perfect. I'm very happy with this.
Very cool. Does he do other consoles, or is it just Virtual Boy right now?
I think he does Wonder Swan and Dreamcast stuff. Not necessarily the ROM cards. He does the Wonder Swan ROM cards. That's a mouthful.
Okay. Yeah.
But he doesn't do much other than that. And like what he does is, if it's as good as this, is just wow.
Yeah. Well, if it's a Dreamcast one, I wonder if it's like because Dreamcast obviously was disc based, if it would be like the VMU kind of slot that you would put it in.
The Dreamcast space is pretty saturated with the optical drive emulators. I think what he does is the cables and making accessories and like adapters for the Dreamcast rather than the actual optical drive emulators.
Oh, okay.
But yeah. He's mostly Wonder Swan and Virtual Boy for flashcards, I think.
Wow. Okay, so Larry has the opportunity to make a friend in the Virtual Boy realm.
Yeah, it's really cool.
That's that actually is really cool. I'm just sorry that it's being wasted on the Virtual Boy. Because we all know how I feel about that.
You love it.
Oh yeah, I love it. I love to saw them in half.
We tried
and take a sledgehammer to it. And yes, you did actually. Like, did Larry showed it to you, right?
Larry, you saw it right through those chips. So
not yes, happening.
I did. We could use it for parts.
Yeah. For those of you who don't know, if you go back to the very first contest that Larry and I had on this show, we bet the Virtual Boy as a prize, and I won the contest. He gave it to me, and then for his birthday, I smashed it to pieces and mailed it to him. Tell me that's not the best birthday gift ever.
It is not.
I know you cried a little inside. It made me
cried
smile.
a lot.
I know. It made me smile though. But because see, look, there's somebody who's making a little cart now that you can just use. So
butterfly effect.
Yeah, butterfly effect. Once he glues that Virtual Boy together, he'll be able to play.
All right, Larry. That's a project we got going now.
Yep. Okay. So aside from the Virtual Boy thing, you did want to show something else off, and this is I'm always these are the things I'm always astounded with that you do that I can't, because you love to like take these systems apart and just like work on the boards and the chips and stuff like that. So what do you got to show off this week?
Yeah, so this is mostly other people's work, but this is a really nice pattern that I like to see in the retro community.
Mm-hmm.
So previously we talked about optical drive emulators. I mean, we just talked about the Dreamcast one now.
Yep.
Where you would take your CD-ROM or your original GD-ROM or anything, you would take it out and you would replace it with an SD card loading kind of thing. Mm-hmm. But you would have to make that sacrifice. Do I want to play my original games, or do I want to load this whole thing in there, right? And so the Saturn had one of them. This French team made this product called the Fenrir, and it's an optical drive emulator for the Saturn, which you can update over Wi-Fi. It's amazing. But again, you'd have to sacrifice your original discs. Like, so I wouldn't be able to play Daytona on this. Like, it just wouldn't work. Will console modifications from the UK actually made a really great thing. And it only works with the 20-pin Saturn right now.
Okay.
But as you can see, I have my Fenrir my optical drive emulator in there.
Okay.
There's a little switch in the back.
Can you point those out really quickly?
Yeah, sure. So the Fenrir is right there.
Okay. Got it.
That's the actual drive emulator with the SD card.
Okay.
And that's the actual still CD-ROM still working CD-ROM and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
And in the back, you just load up this. That's where your SD-ROM goes. And there's a little switch whether you want to load it from CD-ROM.
From disk or
So you don't sacrifice anything.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's a simple modification. All you're doing is plugging cables and gluing something down. Anyone can do it. And you get to keep your original hardware in there, which is like the most important part. So I'd love to see this pattern like emulated somewhere else, like the Dreamcast or all the other optical drive emulators that are out there, like the PlayStation ones. Keeping that original CD-ROM would be just so big of a game changer, I think.
Oh yeah, I think that would be awesome. The GameCube comes to mind for me immediately. Like that would be really awesome for the GameCube. But as you can see there, you've completely negated your warranty on the Saturn, so you're never going to be able to send that in to get fixed.
So sorry, Sega, if you still exist as a hardware company.
Right? No, and it's pretty clear that they don't. Well, no, they do. They do in the arcade sense.
Arcade
they just
business,
don't. They don't do in the console business. But still, that's really really cool. So, and I would I would love again. That would be something where like I would love that for the Dreamcast or the GameCube. Something of that nature, maybe even like the the Wii U was the Wii U disc based? Yeah, it was
disc based. Yep.
Yeah, it was disc based. It was the last.
I had two of them staring at me right there.
There you go. Yeah, because you have like an entire like collection of consoles. You just like pick them up everywhere you go.
Yeah, I love e-waste places. They're places where people just go out to throw out things that they think are junk.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I've gotten like a lot of my old Macs from. Fix those up. And consoles, I've been getting some from my friends. Or the NES I got for $5 from this e-waste place before they closed down right next to me. I got a whole stack of them.
Oh wow!
I mean, it's just just like what people think is junk is like treasure.
Yeah, I was just gonna say you fix those up and you throw them up
Yeah.
on eBay or
No, I don't sell things. I give them to my friends.
No, I know you're. Yeah, you're like you're almost like a Robin Hood for console gaming, except you actually pay for them instead of stealing them.
Yeah.
So it actually cost it worst Robin Hood ever. It costs you money. So
it's worth it. Save these consoles.
It is. No, you are a good man. As you know, as you've shown me, because you have my Sega CD right now that you are working on fixing for me, because the drive just wasn't the disc wasn't spinning on my Sega CD.
Still waiting on the lasers. The laser was dead, and I have one order placed with AliExpress. This vendor kind of ghosted me.
Mm-hmm.
So fun story, fun update.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm thinking that we're gonna have to order from somewhere else that's more reputable, but
damn that AliExpress.
You never know.
No,
most of the time, good experience, but they always have your back. Like if I contact them, they understand.
They'll give you a refund for it and everything. All right, cool.
Maybe hit up legitimate.
I was gonna say hit up Mercari. Mercari seems to be another one of those ones you can do.
Yeah, a lot of money.
Yes, well, there's that too. But all right, cool. So Robin Hood for consoles still going strong on your end. But what I wanted to talk about today, and again, the show's going to probably be a little bit short this week. Between Larry missing and I'm just falling apart at the seams. And so are you. We're partners in shoulder injuries. So between the two of us, we have we have one pair of working arms.
One pair of working arms is amazing. We can clean a house together.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I wish you were here this morning helping me clean my house. Perhaps I wouldn't be in so much pain right now. But what I wanted to talk with you about this week, and it'll be interesting to get your take on this, since you basically have almost every game imaginable based on what you do. But Sony PlayStation came out last week and announced that they're going to be changing their PlayStation Plus, PlayStation Now programs into one straight up PlayStation Plus tiered system. And this is clearly an attempt for them to not get back at, but just to compete with Xbox Game Pass and now Nintendo Switch Online, who have their own online services where you basically are just streaming games for a monthly fee or an annual fee. So,
and Stadia.
And Stadia, although nobody really talks about Stadia. I think Larry's the only person who has one. He just might be,
which is really weird because it's actually the best cloud experience out there.
Really?
Yeah, cloud gaming, the Stadia I think has the best experience on, like, as far as releasing games at a cadence and just like gameplay.
Bold statement. Well, you know what though, I would expect nothing less from Google, because they're Google. You would think that they would do that, but
the architecture.
Yeah, exactly. But everybody, well, not everybody, but a lot of people are just console gamers and they don't want to go that route. So they're looking for Sony and Microsoft and Nintendo to fill those in for them. So PlayStation or Sony came out last week and announced they're going to be releasing a PlayStation Plus tiered system. No word yet, I don't think, officially on when it's going into effect. So it'll be interesting to see when that actually picks up. I don't remember seeing a date, but it's going to be a 3-tiered system. The first tier is going to be your PlayStation Plus Essential. And basically that's what PlayStation Plus subscribers have right now. So it's $10 a month, or actually they have it broken down into 3 payment plans. You can do $10 a month, $25 every quarter, every 3 months, or $60 a year. And basically it's what you get now on PlayStation Plus, which you get 2 free games to download that you own. You get discounts, you get cloud storage for your save games, and you get online multiplayer. So if you have PlayStation Plus right now, when this goes into effect, you're just automatically going to roll into PlayStation Plus Essential. Nothing changes for you. But if you want to get some of the other things that they're offering in the other 2 tiers, the next tier up is PlayStation Plus Extra. That's going to be $15 a month, $40 quarterly, or $100 annually. With that, you get everything PlayStation Plus offers you. Plus, you get a catalog of 400 PS4 and PS5 games, including blockbuster hits from PlayStation Studios catalog and third-party partners. Games in the extra tier are actually going to be downloadable for play.
Mm-hmm.
So basically you're getting a library. You're getting a 400 game library that you can play with, $100 a year. Now, if you want to go all the way to the top, PlayStation Plus Premium is $18 a month, $50 every 3 months, or $120 annually. So only $20 more a year from the PlayStation Plus Extra. Now, with this one, you get everything that I mentioned before. On top of that, you're going to get PlayStation 3 games available via cloud streaming. And you're also going to get a catalog of classic games that you can either stream or download from PlayStation, PlayStation 2, and PSP, which was PlayStation Portable. It's going to offer cloud streaming access for those games. So you get games going all the way back to the original PlayStation. So basically it's what PlayStation Now was. Like, this is replacing PlayStation Now. And then you can also stream games from PS4, PS5, all that stuff. The remote play on PC is still going to be in existence here. So you can do your remote play. There'll also be time-limited game trials offered in this tier. So you can actually try a game out before you buy it. So that's an extra benefit if you have the premium. Sony has already come out and said that games will not be available on any of these tiers, but particularly the premium one. New games will not be available on launch day, which is what Game Pass does. Game Pass will give you a new game on launch day. Sony is not going to be doing that.
Exactly.
But it may very well be that on the premium, you'll be able to test, try the game out and see if you want to buy it. So those are the three tiers. Mm-hmm. Jack, what do you think?
It's a tough sell.
Bad, indifferent?
Indifferent. I mean, I think that the technology behind it is amazing. I mean, to run that technology costs money. Mm-hmm. I think what they're doing is the step in the right direction, but I think it's just not there for me. Mm-hmm. And I'm pretty indifferent to it. I mean, I think what we have right now with the Game Pass is pretty good. Not the Game Pass. What's the PlayStation?
Just PlayStation Plus.
Yeah, PlayStation Plus is great. I mean, monthly we get some random game. We allocated a certain amount of time to it because, none of us have like a crazy amount of time to play. Mm-hmm. So that eats up most of the month. And that's all I really need is like some random game that maybe some developers couldn't sell or it's falling off. And I'd love to play it. Like, let me try out that game. If they offered something new or innovative, like, hey, these games were Japan only releases. We're offering them and we've translated them to English. So these are like brand new things that we're offering you, like, play that. Yeah, I would sign up. That's really cool. That's an innovative idea.
Yeah.
But all they're actually doing is just having some new way to just give you what they've already like sold you before. I mean, yeah, I agree. A lot of these things, like, unless they're remastered, unless they're redone and remade, they don't really play well on modern hardware unless you're doing some other stuff like we do with the regular retro game, like upscaling and scan lines and all this other stuff. Like, if you don't alter it and you just like dump a PS1 game on your widescreen, sorry, it's not going to be great. Yeah. PSP, I think that had an awesome library that not many people like really dove into deeply.
And I am one of them.
Yeah. And I think that's like really great. But I mean, at the same time, like, I think the PSP store is still up.
It might be, yeah.
So like, grabbing a PSP, I can download the games, I can buy them, and now they own them. So and that goes back to like ownership, right? Is what was a console back then was a piece of hardware with another piece of software that you bought and you forever owned. Like, what all we're buying now is like little licenses to kind of download and play at that. What if Sony shuts down their store?
Yep.
You can't play that game anymore. You can't do anything. So it kind of like you're relying on them to be able to pay and play what you bought already. So that's kind of like where I kind of stand on that. And like going back to the PS5, even I've been trying to buy one for how long? Like Rich and I've been like going at it.
I know you guys. Yeah, you guys have been trying your hardest.
So at this point, like, why wouldn't I just go? I have a nice desktop that I'm streaming off of right now.
Mhm.
Why wouldn't I just download it off of Steam and have the same console experience? Because you get a nice controller. I have like the Xbox Pro controller hooked up to it,
Okay.
and that's like one of the nicest controls I've ever played on. It's full screen. It kind of has the same PSP menu, or like the
Mhm.
PlayStation Now menu, and like the experience for me is the same, but I get to keep the game. And if this PC breaks, I can just get a new PC and I'll play that game somewhere else.
Right.
With the PlayStation, that's not the same truth. Like I, it's about a matter of trust and a matter
Yeah.
of like, what innovative things are they really offering? And I don't
Right.
see that.
But that also goes back to the whole console versus PC thing,
Mhm.
where it's like, at a certain point, your console is going to become obsolete. They're going to move on
Yeah.
to another console. And then eventually, like the way Nintendo just announced with the Wii U and the 3DS,
Mhm.
all right, we're gonna we're gonna shut it down. I was like, that's just always going to be the case. To your point, on PC, it's always going to live there because you can always get another PC. So
Yep.
that's always the debate between console and PC gamers. But yeah, I do agree with you, because I'm also one of those people where it's like, I want to have the game in my library for myself. I'm
Mhm.
not the one where it's like, oh, okay, I'll play it on the cloud and that's it, because it's like, if I really like it, I want to own it. I do
Yep.
want to own it. So so but even despite that, I think for the price that they're charging, I don't think that's that bad of a deal. Because I mean,
I don't either, to be honest.
yeah, $120 a year. You're talking
Yep.
$10 a month. That's what it averages out if you do the annual plan.
Mhm. Yep.
I honestly think that they're the $18 a month, like that, to me, like, I don't know why anybody would want to do that, because you're basically paying what, $216 a year.
Mhm.
So I mean, you're paying an extra $100 there. It's better to just do the annual. um but to offer 700 games, especially going all the way back to the PS1, because you got to also remember that a lot of people now, or a lot of people that are
Haven't
playing
played PS.
PS4, PS5, were either really young when PS1 came out, maybe even weren't born when PS1 came out. So it's like they're getting the opportunity to play things that they've never had, or
Yep.
never even had an opportunity to have, unless they became a collector.
Yep.
So I think for that, it's really appealing. Now,
Agreed.
how it competes with Game Pass and Switch Online, totally different story. First off, I think it's automatically better than Switch Online,
Yeah.
because Switch Online, granted, is cheaper. It's $20 a year. You get the NES and SNES library, but for $50 a year now, you get N64 and
Mhm.
Sega games. But the library is small.
Yeah. And
So
then 64 is terrible.
yeah, and N64, playing an N64 game on the Switch has not been fun. First off, you
Mhm.
need an N64 controller, and
Which are
even
not
then,
available.
right, which are not available. And then the ports, I've heard just horror stories about.
Horrific. Yeah.
Yeah, so they've got some work to do on that part. But then with Game Pass has been the go-to
Mhm.
for everybody, because it's basically Microsoft just throws their library on there. It's like, there you go,
Yep.
have fun with it. And now what they're doing is they're introducing this Game Pass Ultimate, or I don't know if it's already there. The thing with Microsoft, though, there's no annual fee. You're always paying monthly. So they have
Mhm.
a $10 a month plan or a $15 a month plan. So you're already paying on Game Xbox 120 a year, or if you go all the way up to the Ultimate, which is new, I think, right? That's going to be
Mhm.
180 a year essentially. But the Ultimate, I believe, is going to allow you to get free games, X Cloud. You get EA Play, part of the Ultimate, but you also can play everything on your PC.
Exactly. Yep.
And that's a big deal, because if you have again, it's Microsoft, they
Mhm.
make PCs as well. So being able to play your Xbox on your PC, or all of your games can just transfer to your PC. I mean, that's a huge win right there.
Yep.
Granted, PlayStation does have online play. You can play your games through your PC, but you know, it to me, it's not as smooth an experience.
Yeah. And the
Um,
killer is, like you hit it on the head before, is Game Pass offers you launch day titles.
yes, and
That's a huge
that's
miss.
big. That's a big deal. That is a big
Hmm.
deal.
Like,
And
I would
they,
have loved to pay, like, if I'm not going to play, like, I don't really care about owning Elden Ring, to be honest, for PlayStation.
Yeah.
Like, I'd love to play it. I would have played it and moved on with my life. But that's a launch title. I would have waited months before like that was released, to us by Sony. So like all these things that people are playing, by the time you get to them, if you're just like relying on that model, because that it does eat into your budget, right?
Yeah.
So if you're relying on these things for some launch day titles, you're going to be playing them once they're released. You're going to see them all over the place. People are talking about playing them. It's not as fun. You want to be part of that experience sometimes.
Exactly. Yeah. So we'll see how, like, I'm curious to see how they're going to, how this is going to do for them, like how the premium is going to do for them, because I think it's obvious they want everybody to go to premium. It's like, why would you want anybody on the lower tiers? They're going to want everybody to go on the upper tiers. However, what they're also doing, or they're trying to do, is they're also trying to offer a lower cost option, like the one we have, that's only $60 a year, in an attempt to keep more people on PlayStation. So, and I know, like for me, I switched up. I was more of an Xbox gamer until the Xbox One came out. So like I didn't have a PS3. I had a PS2 and an original Xbox, but when it came time to choose between PS3 and 360, the titles were almost the same to me. Like there weren't a lot of exclusives, and the ones that might have been exclusive, I liked what Xbox had to offer. So I went 360, never got a PS3. I now own a PS3 because I bought it recently in the last year or two. But then when Xbox One came out, I found that I wasn't getting the games I wanted on Xbox One because PS4 had them. So then I wound up going to PS4, and now I'm on PS5. So I'm no stranger to jumping back and forth between them, but I still think Sony, to me, has the better library of games.
True.
But to your point, you're going to have to buy them. Yeah, they have better exclusives, but Sony knows that, which is why that's where they're going to make their money. You got to buy them. Whereas Microsoft's just going to be like, hey, sign up for Game Pass. You can play them all as soon as they're up.
Yep. And that's where you're right. It's just like, for me, the major problem is they're just sort of playing into that, and they're not really doing anything new. Like, I think Microsoft, what they did is they said, what is a console? Is it your PC? If it has a controller attached and you have the same experience, is that a console?
Right.
Because honestly, there's like not much difference between that and the Xbox S. You can have a powerful PC that does multiple things, except for, you have one thing, and now you don't need a console, but you still have all the games and they still make money on the software.
Yep.
People lose money on hardware when they're launching hardware. Sony does, everyone does. It's like, where are you really distinguishing things? And consoling, like, so I would now say the way that the PS4, the PS5, and the Xbox are, Switch I would exclude. I still think that's like an exclusive console.
I feel like they're just in their own world.
Yeah, but Xbox and PlayStation are just computers with like nice little user interfaces that crash all the time. And Rich's hard drive on his PS4 died 5 times already, which is hilarious. But
yeah, I find that really weird. I don't know how his just keeps dying.
Mine died twice too.
Oh, really? Oh,
the PS4s overheat. Yeah.
Oh, I've never had that issue with my PS4, and I've used my PS4 like exclusively for years.
You got a unicorn. Yeah.
So I've been lucky, I guess.
Yeah, no, but like, they don't get me wrong, the PS5 is impressive hardware. It's really impressive, but am I really impressed by the entire experience that they're giving me? Not just the hardware? Probably not at this point. So
you say honestly, this even though that we game every week on the PlayStation.
Yeah, and what do we play? Like, we love Uno.
We love Uno, yes,
and Rocket Pass. And it's more about experiential games now than like the in your face, like, wow, I just got thrown into this gorgeous valley, like,
Cool. Well, I will say I'm playing Ghost of Tsushima right now, and it's
beautiful game.
It's stunning. It's stunning on the PS5.
Yep.
So yeah, there's definitely the quality is there in terms of the graphics and everything. The quality is definitely there. But I understand your point about they're all just computers at the end of the day. They really are.
Yeah. And like I said, like, what's the innovation there? If they offered translated games, which I know is super hard, and it's a money pit at that point for them, but that to me would have signaled like some innovation. But
yeah, but no, I would be in their corner for that. But the other thing also that I would want with it, it's also a nostalgia factor for me, because it's like, if I see if I see some of the, if I see some of the games that I used to love playing on, available on that premium package. So, and we're talking about the obvious ones, like we're talking about like, Castlevania Symphony of the Night, all the Final Fantasies from 7 up that you can get from PS1 on, the Resident Evil series, the Silent Hill series, like Guitar Hero. I was thinking about Guitar Hero the other day. I was like, I loved Guitar Hero.
Yeah.
I don't even know if that would be possible to throw on there and then like, get that good old guitar again and start playing it. Even though I can't because of my arms, but
draw my
yeah, exactly.
or
the Tomb Raider series. And and to your point, they are remastering games all the time. The thing I'm curious to see is Sony going to go all in with third parties?
Exactly. Like Sega would be a big one.
Yeah, because they're gonna have to if they're gonna want to compete. You're gonna have to be willing to go after the third parties. That's, I think, what one of the issues with Nintendo is. Like when you go to their Switch Online, it's all their first party titles. They're very hesitant to pay third party fees for the games available online.
Yep.
Because they know that's where the cost comes in. So Sony has to make sure that they are not afraid to spend that money on third parties, because they only have, to me, you always have one chance to make a first impression. So those 700 games that are going to be on there, they better be the best of the best. Your Gran Turismos, your Tony Hawks, the games that everybody talks about when somebody says, what game do you think of when you think of PlayStation 2? Grand Theft Auto, and not the crappy one that they released that everybody hated, the remaster that was released.
It's terrible.
Yeah, exactly. But that's what people want to see. You want to see your Metal Gear Solid. You want to see Ratchet and Clank. The Spider-Man games on PlayStation were awesome.
They were amazing.
Yeah, so that's why he's the Amazing Spider-Man. Gran Turismo, huge series on PlayStation. It's like those are the ones that have to be there, because if they're not, I think that's where you start to lose you lose people's interest. People start going over, be like, oh well, I'll go to Microsoft because I'll just get all the new stuff that they're coming out with.
Yeah,
and the old stuff.
Gran Turismo, all these other ones, like Gran Turismo 1 when it came out, blown away. But now when my friend and I just sat down because he was having a kid, and we're just like, let's play Gran Turismo. We haven't played that in a while. Fire it up, looks awful in 1080p. I can't even imagine 4K.
Yeah.
So like, unless you're doing something to make those old games look better, you're not going to get, like, to your point, you're not going to get that young audience, because they're going to go, what the heck is this?
Yeah.
It's not as enjoyable for them because they don't have the nostalgia for, like, to hold them to it.
Right. It's definitely going to be more appealing towards the older audience. Like for me, like I go back and I'll play those. Like when I go back and play like Tomb Raider, because I loved Tomb Raider. It's slow, it's clunky. The polygons are just like, you look at it and it's like, okay, this looks terrible because I'm used to playing better games. The reason why I will continue to go back and play it is because I grew up playing it.
Yep.
Yeah. So it is harder to get that audience unless that specific younger player or gamer is into that. Like there's, but clearly they're going after, I would think, obviously going back to the PS1, I think they're going after the older audience because they're getting the younger audience with all the newer stuff.
Yeah. But at that point, like you have to make damn sure you have like a down pat before you get the older audience, because we're picky.
Yeah. Well, some of us are pickier than others. If Larry were here, Larry would just be like, hey, I'm happy with it. I'm happy with them as they are. So
that's actually very true,
because you have your Larrys of the world, and it's not even it's Larry. It's not a knock on you. I'm not knocking you at all. It's like some of we like to see. Yeah, it's a choice. It's like we like to see these in their original, the way they originally looked, and to me, to a degree, I like to see that too. But I'm also not against the remastered, because the remastered ones look awesome. So I'm perfectly fine with those too. I think they did a remaster of Final Fantasy VIII, which I'm looking forward to playing at some point, or at least trying it to see how it looks as a remaster. So I'm curious to see
a little bit on that. Is just like how they looked is very subjective, because we looked at them through CRTs and what they were designed for before. If you throw that on a flat panel or modern LCD, like, it loses everything.
It just, and
you're just like, what the hell is that?
Because it's
pretty terrible.
Yeah, it was built for a specific television.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see like what people can put up with. Like I know me, like just a one-to-one remapping on a modern
Mhm.
console, that's just not my thing. But I think late PS2 plus, they'll have me at. That's like very, very playable gaming
Mhm.
time for like modern consoles, even.
Okay. All right. Well, I guess we'll see what happens. We have I'm assuming this is going to be coming out at some point this year. And I'm sorry, like I did look for dates, but I just don't think they came. They just announced
Yeah.
it. So I'm really curious to see. Oh, I'm sorry, June. They didn't
Oh,
say when in June, but just June.
okay.
So I'll be
That's
curious to see what happens when we get there. I'm assuming everybody on PlayStation Plus just rolls into the essential, like I said. People who have PlayStation Now, though, I'm curious to see what happens because they have to move into something because PlayStation Now will
mm-hmm.
not be in existence anymore come June. So hopefully this is a very smooth transition. That's another thing too, because you know how if these transitions go wrong,
Yep.
you just
They could
you're just gonna
devastate you.
yeah, exactly. So we'll see what happens with that as well.
Did you say
Um,
PS Vita was included or
PS what?
Vita?
No, Vita was not on the list. Vita was not on the
That's
list. But
weird.
but there it's something that could be put on the list later. I mean, who's to say? You know, they can easily add Vita games. So
Yeah.
but I was actually more excited when I heard about PSP because I know that they have a really solid library that I've never gotten a chance to experience. So I'm looking forward to seeing those.
It's pretty great.
Yeah. So yeah. So any final words on this?
No, other
No.
than I think cloud gaming is the future on this. Like I think we're
Mm-hmm.
gonna move to like a console is gonna be less of a console, except if you're Nintendo.
Yep.
And we'll see more of a bring your own device kind of mentalities are starting to rise up. Like once these cloud
Ah,
services are solidified a little bit more,
okay.
which would be like really great because I can go upstate where I don't have like a TV, but I do have my laptop on me and I can just log in and play with you guys and play PlayStation. So
Yeah, just log in and play whatever you want. Yeah,
yep,
that's where we're going. No, I agree with you. I think that's where we're headed. We'll just have to see when that eventually happens for everything. I mean, even
yep,
like Steam, but Steam, they came out with a Steam Deck because they see the appeal for even getting console gamers in a
yeah.
way by doing a handheld. And to be honest with you, like I thought that was genius because I'm like, oh, it's like there may be more appeal for me to get that and play it on my TV because I just don't like to sit at my desk and play video games.
Yep.
So like something like so like there's an example of Steam being like, well, we're going to go after a market that we don't have, and having your Steam library available to throw up on your TV, that's huge in my opinion.
Yeah, but like the cool thing is I actually just power on my computer and I play them on my projector.
Yeah. Well, and that's the other thing too. It's like it's very simple to just do something like that as well. It's like if I got a
With Steam,
wireless
yep.
controller,
Yeah.
well, but even with the way everything is set up wirelessly, it's like, you know, I can project
True.
my computer to the TV if I want to. I guess it's a level of convenience where it's like, oh, it's like,
Yeah.
you know, you have the portable Steam Deck. Put the Steam Deck is basically a Switch. You
Yeah.
know, you can bring it with you and play portable, or you can hook it up to a dock and throw it right on your TV, just like that.
And your whole
So,
Steam library is there. Well,
yeah,
the Linux compatible one, but yeah,
yeah,
they're making
exactly.
huge progress. It's amazing.
So, so yeah, just another thing to compete with PlayStation Plus and Game Pass and all that stuff. One other before we wrap this up, there was one other thing I wanted to throw at, not throw at you, but just to point out, since we've been talking about Microsoft and you're the PC gamer and everything like that, I thought you would be thrilled to know that there's a very special retro birthday today,
Oh,
because this week is the 30th anniversary of the release of Microsoft Windows 3.1.
oh, funny.
Yeah. And the reason why I bring that up is because there were games on there. If you remember 3.1, and we had talked about one of these games recently because it also celebrated its 30th. You got Minesweeper, you got Hearts, and you got Solitaire,
Yep.
which I used to play to death. I remember the first
Ski
job.
free.
Yeah. Oh God, ski free. I remember the first job I had because the first job I had was a Windows 3.1 computer. So whenever I had downtime, I would just like pop up Solitaire. That's how I learned to play Hearts, was on Windows 3.1.
Funny. Didn't know
Yeah,
that.
that is how I learned how to play Hearts. But yeah, so 30 years of for Windows 3.1. God, I remember using that very briefly, and then 95 came out not too long after. So
Yep. And that's when I switched to OS 9 at the time. Yeah.
oh yeah.
and I went full Mac from there on.
You went full Mac. You just hated Windows.
Yeah,
Oh wow.
I tried. 98 was a little better,
Okay.
and now I'm on Windows 10 with this gaming PC. But even Windows 10, I'm like
Just
very
not
lost at. Yeah.
not a fan. Yeah. See, and I've been using Windows for what 27 years. So it's just second nature to me. I mean, I use OS for work. I have a Mac for work, so I know how to use both of them. I was like, but Windows to me is just like, it's odd to me if I don't use Windows.
Well, we have to do some retro computing gaming when I'm over there.
Oh, you know what? I think we should set something like that up. I think that'd be, if you want to do some real retro computing, we'll hook up my Commodore 64.
I do,
because I got that sitting in a closet right now.
I'm excited for that.
I gotta dust that up, but I'm gonna have to pick up a monitor. Like I want like good old school. We need a good monitor for that.
Yeah, we'll bring you something.
Yeah, I don't think you want to lug that on a plane.
No, there's tons of e-waste around you.
Oh, really?
Monitors are a little harder to find, but I think we can make do.
All right,
It'll be a fun little scavenger trip. Maybe we can make a blog out of it.
All right. Yes, when you come here, we'll do a Retro Gamers podcast on location with you.
That'd be fun.
I think that would be awesome. Oh man. All right. So we're gonna wrap this one up. Jack, thank you so much for joining me this week.
Thanks for
I'm sure me. Larry is very grateful. He is going to be a little bit annoyed that he wasn't here for that Virtual Boy display. Mostly because I probably didn't give it the love that it deserves. Oh no, wait, it doesn't deserve any love because it's Virtual Boy. So we'll just leave it at that. Yeah, I know. I will take every chance I can to rip it up. But aside from that, for those of you who listen and watch us, you can find us on Facebook.com/Retro Gamers Podcast, on Instagram at Retro Gamers Podcast, on Twitter at Retro Gamers Pod. You can listen to us wherever you listen to podcasts. You can watch us on YouTube, or you can email us at email@theretrogamers.com. It's always a mouthful. So Jack, thank you so much. And you know what? Don't stay away for 6 months. Come back sooner. Just don't take over the show. And you know what? Rich is still banned just because
it was his fault. Honestly,
it really was his fault. I think he was the idea man behind that operation. You were just the tech guy. You were just taking orders.
Just do what I'm told.
Just do what you're told. All right, everybody. Thank you for listening and watching, and we will catch you next week on the Retro Gamers Podcast.